Asimbonanga Mandela thina laphe khona laphe hleli khona Asimbonanga Mandela thina laphe khona laphe hleli khona.
There is room for all the various races in this country. The Africans want the franchise on the basis of one man, one vote. They want political independence.
No one is born hating another person for the color of their skin, religion, or background. Even in the grimmest times, I have seen glimmers of humanity which reassured me that man's goodness is a flame that can never be extinguished.
Mr. Nelson Mandela, a free man, taking his first steps into a new South Africa.
Amandla, i-Afrika, hayibuye. Never. Never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. So God we go, let freedom reign. God bless Africa.
What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead. This was said by Utatu Nelson Mandela on the 90th birthday celebration of Walter Sisulu back in 2002.
Sanibonani sinimukele kwi-Daily Thetha namhlanje on the Mandela Day. We are celebrating iqhawe esitholando elenza sure ukuthi spend 67 years of isikhathi namhlanje siphile ebutebu. Siphila ebutebu njengamanje because of lelo qhawe. And namhlanje sobe sinabantu abamaziyo and you at home as well usitshele ukuthi yini lo ithandayo about utata ekwenza ukuthi namhlanje umkhumbule. Tag us kuma videos owenzayo. We're doing the good deeds 67 minutes or even more. Make sure that we know at daily_Thetha on Twitter.
And I suppose we're also doing our good deed, more Daily Thetha, spending our 48 minutes. We'll try and push it to 67 minutes. I hope SABC1 is listening. We're focusing on the selfless leadership Thetha Nelson Mandela embodied in all the years that we came to know him. But we're not only focusing on his deeds, but we're talking to our guests and also finding out what characteristics do they like about him, what do they remember about his legacy, and also hoping our phone 011 339 1315 or send us your voice notes on 0606796835 or butjege gore wena o gopola eng ka ragolo Mandela.
Ngaphandle kokuthi uNelson Mandela utata abesemalini yethu senhlizweni zethu as well. But we want to find out from the street ukuthi abantu yini le abayithandana abayikhumbula kangaka about utata. Let's go to the street sizwe abantu bathini.
freedom esi-enjoyayo letha Mandela ukuthi thina nabelungu sesenza into equally sakhona ukuthi sifunde nabelungu same school senze yonke into nje efanayo nabo sebathanda i-language yethu into ezina kanjalo.
Move free, we are able to do anything esikhathi esifuna.
Getting the opportunity ukuthi ngibe able ukuya ku-Model C school ngihlangane nabantu abamhlophe le opportunity engazange yanikezwa abazali bethu back in the days.
Good dusty la asinazi indlela yonke into siyazamela si jobless unometric kuyafana uhlele ekhaya. So mina angibona nje kushuthi inkululeko esithole kuMandela ukuthi sibe nama ID sambe la sifuna ukuya khona ngaphandle kokubuza imibuzo nokuboshwa kuphela.
Esikhathini samanje sijabula kakhulu because manje education is free and ungafunda nga language noma yipho ifuna and esikhathini esiningi bokuthi umele uhambe estradini bokumele utshengise la mabhunu ipass but esikhathini sama you can walk free without showing any person ipass.
Mandela are never ever again in this land in Rabarabona oppression. It's from one person to the other, and young people are saying on the streets, they're walking freely, enjoying the fruits of freedom. Nelson Mandela would have loved and wished for them. But you can join in the conversation. Studio audience members, what are their favorite characteristics? Nelson Mandela, what do they remember, particularly Guyana? And my sisters who microphone. And what are some of your favorite characteristics of Nelson Mandela?
Okay, my name is Resal Baka, and my favorite characteristics of Ndate Nelson Mandela is his heart. He has this beautiful heart for people and his sense of humor. And I also love the heart he has for other people, even those who have wronged him.
Yeah.
He has this forgiving heart, unlike people in our days now.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Leon Khizio nje ukuthi umuntu kansonke isikhathi axolele as well. As you know ukuthi Thetha ke ihlelo labantu abasha, but nabanye abasha at heart as well. Saba accommodate la umusha part lizweni. Baba ngizoza igama lakho and masisitshela ama characteristics kaMadiba owathandayo. Ubani igama na baba?
Sanbonani, Namateka Sanbonani. Ubandile Masinda lo, a former Mkhonto wesizwe, ex-military veteran. My combat name, be Philemon Matsolo. Philemon Blows Matsolo. Philemon Blows Matsolo.
Oh yes.
Elegata to Madiba Antiselazekai, David Matsamai.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Here we are talking of a cadre of a special type. In the Kamnandi, I'm very glad to see my seniors, Zomkhonto wesizwe zikhona la. These are my commanders ababeng training ngaphandle. Emkhontweni, we are training political cadres. Kushukuthi AK-47 was not important. And then njengoba ngikhuluma umkhonto wesizwe kanje, those are the initiatives esikathatha uMadiba and other leaders.
Oh yes.
Because African National Congress was talking namabhulu nge-language under against the apartheid. But they report back because being in a strength, so that's where our visionary leaders took out for a lokunjan initiative of forming umkhonto wesizwe. Ukuthi hayi asibasabi nalabantu. We can do whatever we do. And I'm very much impressed to share this thing lapa in the youth economy. Because our legacy, Mandela, it was not only for the ANC, it was for the people. So now Madiba, he wanted to see South Africa going forward. That's why sacrifice is in Like for instance, Inkosi Africa, it's been sacrificed with the national anthem, Le BBC, But now, what we'll say, okay, it's a man of peace. Somewhere, kuke kwa a problem in the present. Kantu Madiba antibebe nomba nomthatha bayobamba imithi naye ecaleni without our colleagues, comrades. Kanti no wabona ukuthi whatever takes place kungayenzeka.
All right, for the sake of peace,
for the sake of peace
and for isikhathi siyabuya futhi baba sizokhuluma nani sizokhuluma ne-audience na wonke umuntu if at home now futhi khona ufuna ukusitshela yona khona sifuna ukuyazi ukuthi why Madiba ayejele wabuya segqoka that Madiba shirt nanokudla wayebudla as well. Thole after the break. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. That was quoted from A Long Walk to Freedom by Thetha.
Powerful.
Ish.
So powerful. Sometimes I wonder what was going through his mind. He was so easy to forgive.
Yeah.
And some just wanted peace. And for some people, we still want to fight.
Yeah.
But feel like that is, of course, the stock that we come from. Lokhonle, we're celebrating Mandela Day, and we also curious how you're spending your 67 minutes in giving back. So make sure you do interact. But we'll also be talking to some people they've had the privilege and honor of interacting with him on a very much more personal level. And of course, joining us on the couch, we're joined by Ntate Sunwabile Ndamaze Olongoreke, the gentleman who has designed and produced shirts that are known globally as the Madiba shirts. Very popular.
I want to know what Madiba shirt, or there was a name before.
That's a good question. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. So did you envision the Madiba shirt, or it's a name, it just came up while you were designing the shirts for him?
Actually, the situation here, Madiba shirt, it was coined under the clan name, Tata Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, because he's a Madiba, and Uvela Bampensel. So that is his clan name coming from. But then what happened is that when he was released, when I was then with Umama Uweni at the time, because I used to design for Umama Uweni, and I was called by the family, and the situation got that at that time, it was a bit frail as in terms of his health. When Tata was released, you must know as well the age yake.
Right.
Ibise already matured. And then also the condition yake, health was not as well, very well. So therefore, because of what they were doing by the time, the Seroban Island, it was also affected their well-being. So he then has to have something that he was wearing. It could be something which now you are getting the story differently than the fashionista kind of a story that you have.
Yeah. Okay,
Thetha. So then now what happened is that when Tata was released, because of his condition, now he needed something when he's wearing, it could be cool for his body. That could maintain the temperature, because if you look at him as well when he was dressing up, you will always see that it was the shirt, and then underneath you could see what people call the T-shirt. Others, they will always call the shirt as a T-shirt, but he always have a T-shirt underneath and so forth when he was wearing the shirt.
Right.
But then coming to your question of saying, was it just only something? It was not just a situation that he had to dress. I mean, he had to make that kind of a statement. It was just only something that when I have to do it with Umama Uweni as being my commander at the time, because she says to me, came in and with some kind of a drawing and said, you know what, Sonwabile, this is what I need for.
This is what I envision.
I envision for Tata, and then I started to conceptualize that, and then come up with the fabric, and then as well, and gave it to Tata, and then Tata, embrace it very well.
Very, very well.
And then people started then. When they see him wearing that, they said Madiba is wearing a shirt.
Oh, and it became iconic.
Yes, Madiba is wearing a shirt.
All right.
Now, then other people, they start stroking he's wearing, and then put Madiba shirt.
Yeah, no. Exclusive content.
Like, for umuntu obumazi uTata personally, ubeka umuntu onjani? Because abantu abaningi bembona kuma rallies, papers, ukuthi mase ekhulumile and everything, inkulumo zakhe, but for wena ubuna I believe bune one-on-one relationship. Ubeka umuntu onjani?
At the time when I met Thetha has got a way of, because everybody, whenever you see Thetha, for example, even myself, the first time when I had to meet with him, I trip, because, Orlando at the time when he came, and then you are, bring back Nelson Mandela. There
Yeah.
were songs
Yeah.
and everything.
All the time.
Now, yes, first time you're seeing this man in real flesh,
Yeah.
triple, and then I said, Molotad, and he is the one who always come down to you and make the situation much more easier for you.
And comfortable.
And comfortable.
Yes. Yeah.
So he gives you that ubuntu to start saying, hey, dear Kombola.
Also the
voice.
Tatu khona lapho, it's not Ubutswanabile. I think he's in there somewhere. You really just sounded like him, and he just reminded me of his voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but I believe abantu ekhaya as well bafuna ukusho something celebrate nje Mandela Day. Let's go to Empangeni. Kolani. Kolani.
Hello.
Kunjani phuthi?
Ngiyaphila mfethu.
Sikhona mfethu. Ithini comment yakho namhlanje kwi-Mandela Day nje?
Hey, ngiyajabula ukungena ngalolu suku kuyilokhu uza ngibingelele nentokazi lapha eceleni kwakho
Sawubona.
Yes. Kakhulu into engikhumbulayo baba ngoMandela ngikhumbula ukuthi bekuyindoda engekho selfish eyayifisela into eyifisela yona ifisela wonke umuntu impumelelo obeyifisela yona ubeyifisela wonke umuntu olokhu namanje sifila ifreedom ngenxa yakhe baba ngoba ubona nje sikade sikhuluma njengakhuluma esikhathini esidlule ukuthi noma ngabe kuthiwa imali awunayo noma ngathi ungalala ungadlile igama elithi free uma u-free baba lelo gama likhulu kunokulala udlile ungekho free baba uMandela usilethela into enzima kabi uma bengathiwa bengakholwa uJesu lo oseBhayibhelini bengathi uMandela ume endaweni kaJesu ufela izono zabantu baba wayimela waboshwa waphuma waqhubeka agcine khona efuna abantu bekhululeke baba
hayi Xolani usuvela ukusho konke mfowethu siyabonga kakhulu for icall yakho nanokuthi nje sonke isikhathi uthezubukele ne
Siyabonga. Thank you so much Xolani and gone byanong re are going voice notes sheleng gore have been coming through gona ba thomba leng ba nyoko comment about topic yelo khona
Angibingelele mfokashando nawe Tumi nehambeli zenu lapha e-studio. Kama lami ngoNhlanhla wakwaMthembu from eHammersdale. Le ndaba kaBaba Mandela indaba ejule kakhulu ngoba into enziwa uBaba Mandela akekho umunye umuntu wakwayenza noma ke ngithi nje ongayenza manje. Njengoba sesibona ukuthi umbuso nombani useqhandela isisu sakhe. uBaba Mandela ngaleko ukuthi umbuso wawulwela ukuthi uwele ngakubantu abamnyama bathola inkululeko noma amandla kade esezandleni zakhe ukuthi asiphiniselele okubi ngokubi akazange akwenze kodwa lokho okunaloko wabiza abamhlophe wasebenzisana nabo nenhlanga zonke ngokwahlukana kwazo lokho nje ukuxolela kuyinto enkulu kakhulu nokuhambisanayo ke nenqubo yeBhayibheli kuthina abantu abakholwayo ngiyabonga
Bonga thina mfowethu and khuluma into enkulu kakhulu ukuthi ungabuyiseli okubi kunongubi saqhubeka celebrate iMandela Day namhlanje ungalingonza iphutha uhlelo kulolu hlelo sifonele as well on 0113391315 siza umbono wakhe sambe sothengisa idolo
Characteristics engiwathandayo ngoMandela ukuthi he was loyal to his country because ukwazile ukuthi yayitshele wabuya which means he's faithful which means une sense of humor cause bekathanda abantwana which means bekathanda wonke umuntu
into ke ratana ka Mandela it's a freedom fighter it's a noble man and ke munno le gore o rata ubuntu
he's a loving person ka bane mo dikolong we have some feeding scheme but ba tlhokelang dijo so ba ba le dijo dikolong
ke motho o rata batho a kgethologanya le ge a tseba gore yena o ne tšhelete ya gore o a tseba gore o kgona go spenda lo tše dintši ka tšhelete yena a kgethologanya a tseba gore ngwana o tlhoka dijo or something like that wa go thuša a re cause motho la o ne a ne something o re ke go yena no o thuša batho ba ka moka ba tsebang gore ba nyaka thušo
Lesalebelechi Well, of course, the Celebrity Daily Thetha about Dr. Nelson Mandela and how we can spend our 67 minutes, of course, in making sure we give back. Yep. And legacy not only in the country, but in the whole African diaspora, in the whole, world. New York, Washington, Nelson Mandela Square. Mandela Square. Mandela Square. So, okay, they keep remembering legacy. But some people may also argue, Dr. Nelson Mandela fellow who contributed to the liberation of this country. Unsung heroes. And I also put the spotlight more because I know it's what he would have also wanted to say. I had my comrades with me along. But to take this conversation forward, rejoined by Taton Tlapo, from the Soweto Tourism Association and Ernali Youth Activist Sydney Madibo joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time.
And still follow up on what Utum was saying, but I feel as if Utata is being over-celebrated. Banning abantu who deserve a spotlight like this. Is he over-celebrated, according to you, Sydney?
Hey, well, if I say he is, it might cause me problems. I could use a good taxi. But
be honest. Don't
I think the very huge point that we are missing about the legacy of Mandela is that we are celebrating the man and not necessarily celebrating the work. And I think that is where the biggest problem is. If you look at current South African politics, the tripartite alliance is in ruins. The SACP wants to contest elections. And I often ask myself, if on the 18th of July we're going to be sitting and saying, hey, Nelson Mandela, what are we doing to preserve that legacy? Are we just celebrating in jest? But that is just one thing. The other thing, I think internationally, if we think about the work of Nelson Mandela, especially when he spoke about Israeli apartheid and what's happening in the Middle East, it was something that was very crucial to his legacy, especially when he left prison. There was an open discussion he would have in different countries about that. And I often ask myself, looking at the politics of the day, looking at the ANC of the day, are we just looking at the work and saying, Nelson Mandela, you did that, doesn't matter. But we like you as a man. You were a great guy.
We idolize the man.
So we idolize the man and we don't necessarily invest in the work. And apart from that, why is it that we should reserve 67 minutes on one day of the year and make a huge hashtag about it and say, let's go into our communities, let's make a difference.
Right.
Driving to Johannesburg from Vanderbijl, and the people are fuming. Service delivery protests have taken over the country. There are no traffic lights. People are living in famine. People are living in poverty. Someone was saying, we don't walk around with passes anymore. But if you are from my neighborhood, there's a neighborhood watch. You could be going to an ATM at night. The neighborhood watch guys will stop and, hey, are you from here?
But check
that is
it is, of course, that's neighborhood watch. But do you feel, especially the comrades, Dr. Nelson Mandela, they went with him to Robben Island, the formation, ANC and its progress, or are they not celebrated enough?
Well, definitely. Definitely, especially because, I mean, the youth of today is not in tune in terms of, like, what actually happened. You know, we very much ignorant, you know, and as much as we're not trying to really be ignorant, we're trying to say, let's move on. You know, so we're not really saying, okay, we don't want to know. It's just understanding, okay, like Sydney was saying, you know, there's the work, okay, so now let's understand that. When he says education, let's understand what is it. I would simplify it as information. Information is key. It doesn't mean when you don't have a certificate now you must sit at home, you don't do anything, you can't get a job. And that's the misconception that people have about what Madiba was trying to say. Not that education is everything, therefore you're nothing without it. Is that we are in this new age. We literally have YouTube, we're on Facebook, there's information everywhere all the time. But we decide to, okay, no, we'll restrict ourselves because we don't have a piece of paper, therefore we're going to sit at home and do nothing. And I think that's the biggest thing you can do to yourself, just as a person, just as a youth just
go the extra mile. Do
your research.
Yeah.
You know, come up with something. What do you do? What do you
wait
like?
For things to happen. Make things happen.
Exactly.
And then let me go to you, my brother. I want to find out Ubani Kama. And do you think Thetha is being over-celebrated in this country?
For me, yeah, he's being over-celebrated because Thetha is a very over-experienced person. So he made us do what we are doing today. He is how can I say, he has inspired a lot of us.
He's inspiring. He's really inspiring. Let's move on to the next guest. What do you think? Your name, please.
Good morning. My name is Leroy Cook. I would say that to a certain point, people are missing the mark, like my sister just said. They are missing the mark completely. And Nelson Mandela, his character, should be celebrated daily. And it isn't just on this day that we should celebrate Nelson Mandela and his values. We should celebrate his values and what he stood for daily.
Every single day.
Every single day.
Let me pass on the mic to my sister. You know, Sydney spoke about the work. Do you think we understand the work that he stood for? Because yes, as Ubab Snobili said, you get starstruck when you see him, you idolize the icon, but when we think about the work, do you understand what work he put in?
Okay, my name is Sheikh Mabitela. And, okay, about the work, for me, Nelson Mandela is, because I'm a Christian and I read a lot of things based on the principles. So what I've noticed about Utatu Mandela, he has really showed us the good character, you understand, the fruit, we call it the fruit, the spirit, the fruit of the spirit. So he was really, what can I say, he was really noble, he was there, he wasn't thinking about what will people say, how would I look out there, but then he was there to show that, you know what, I am here and I'm going to show people that my character, it's what's right, and I'll do it no matter what.
Okay. And also to me, if that you think celebrate given a day or hours as well, who are those people?
Yeah, definitely. I think, and it's a pity where we learn about such characters, especially when we get into student activism and all of that. Right? I mean, you think about the immense contribution that people such as Chris Hani had, especially in the moving forward of the South African Communist Party. And we seldom hear about him because he had very dissenting views about the transition that we were undertaking from apartheid to democracy, and that is because he themed himself as a disciplined soldier of the revolution.
Speaking about that, just to find out more about Chris Hani himself as well. Maybe some people are we read a quote as well. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Not that Tum is my enemy. Then you become partners. That's from Ilog Walk to Freedom. You're not my enemy, my friend. Say Abuya after this. We're just working together.
Celebrity Daily Thetha. We are talking about the late yet great former statesman Ntate Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, and we're reflecting on the legacy not only in the country but in the rest of the world. And we're wondering, why is this not a public holiday? It's not about us. It's about the 67 minutes. We're going to take time out or we give it back in memory of Ntate Nelson Mandela. But we decided to also invite, they have, can share memories, and also share some of the things. But right now, though, joining us on the couch, we're joined by Mzinhle Nyembe, Marketing and PR ya Luthuli Museum, and we also have Ubab Thami Mali, an author of the book Thami Mali Remembers Chris Hani. And I think it's important to note Bab Albert Luthuli influenced Ntate Nelson Mandela, and then who then in turn influenced Chris Hani. So it's very powerful.
Cool stuff. Guys, welcome to Couch. But let me start with you, Siswa. museum la Albert amaqhawe nokhumbula kanjani, and what do you do to people who doesn't understand politics yala eMzansi?
Okay, thank you for having me. What I can say is Ilutuli Museum stands as a museum that upholds a legacy of Chief Tuli. But then still, as you can know, it is a international heritage site. Yes. And you can also remember that this liberation struggle is not only about just one person, it's about a whole lot of other heroes who were also working hand in hand, like bringing about freedom. Yeah. So while we are celebrating the legacy of Chief Tuli, we also celebrate other heroes as well. As a museum, we have archives where we have like a lot of information about all Amastrag heroes that you would like to know about. Yeah. But then we do not end there. Chief Tuli believed in Ugutene actually freedom through non-violent means, and he also believed in education. Yeah. So what we do is we have programs that are designed to uphold his legacies, a whole range of his legacies that he believed in. Yeah. And we do public programs, and we also do educational programs as well. So we also celebrate, we are actually an agent of the AC, so we celebrate all the national holidays and everything that AC engages in.
Wow, and Bob Tami, I just want to come to you. Tami Mali remembers Chris Hani, and you documented your memories, your personal experiences. Libab Chris, what was your experience like with the man that was influenced by Dr. Nelson Mandela?
It is quite interesting because remember Chris survived 3 assassination attempts outside the country.
Sure.
Only for him to be assassinated inside the country because we dropped our guards, 2 in the Sud, 1 in Botswana. And is the first member of the ANC to be co-opted into the National Executive Committee of the ANC by OR at the age of 32 in 1974. And became the Army Commissar. And then Chris, one thing clear about him, and I just hope young people are listening, and then I hope also current members of the South African Communist Party are listening. He was there that he's not going to go into Parliament.
He didn't want to be a part of Parliament, yeah.
It was clear. He would remain outside until he makes sure that people get what they want.
But for somebody who influenced by Dr. Nelson Mandela yet refused to be in Parliament, how did he use that influence from Dr. Nelson Mandela outside by being proactive outside?
He used it very effectively. You remember the march to Bishop, and then the influence amongst the youth that he had. And he was a darling of everybody. Remember, even the name Chris, that was not his name.
Even Nelson was not his name.
Yes.
Even Nelson.
What was his name?
It's Martin Tembisile Hane. And then Mkondwen, like he told you, you get what you call a combat name. Now, the last born in his family was Christopher Nkosana Hane. So then his combat name became Christopher, and then his surname was Nkosana.
Oh! We're breaking news. We have news bulletins now.
Let's go to a caller.
Yeah, let's go to a caller. Let's just hold it, Baba. We have to take a caller. They have a question for you. We have a call on the line. Kiman Kolerina, Ra Amorela. Hi, Thomas.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Thomas. Okay.
Yeah, ke Thomas. Ke bua ke le mo Duduza mo Ivory Park, na.
Hi, Thomas. Comment ya gago.
Yeah, I'm good, sister. The only thing now, Nelson Mandela, he was like an inspiration to our generation. Secondly, through his legacy, what I've learned is that like what he wanted through the freedom. Yes, we got the freedom that he wanted, but we didn't get the democracy that he fought for. People don't understand between democracy and freedom, and especially our generation, the generation of 1986 to 1996. This 20 years gap. But we, the generation of 1976, we can see the difference between democracy and freedom. And yes, we know that the freedom that he fought for, he got it, but to practice or either to emphasize the democracy that he wanted, we didn't get it. Even now, we're still fighting for it.
Sure.
Like myself, I can say my father was an illegal immigrant. He was working in the mines. In the Rustenburg. So I was born through such people who came outside of South Africa. And Nelson Mandela, when he said democracy was for everyone who is living in South Africa, now this government that we're living in is not practicing what Nelson Mandela said.
All right. Thank you so much.
They are dodging it through the back door, just thinking for themselves just because they are in the political era.
Okay, Thomas, thank you so much for commenting. We got the gist of what you're also trying to say. Let's come back to you, Babtami, very briefly, as just commenting on what you were saying, because I saw you reacted there as well.
He's definitely correct. And that's the reason why, remember Chris, when he said, I'm not going to go into parliament. I would want to remain outside. Because once I see them buying themselves flashy cars and what have you, and people are poor, then I'm going to revolt against them.
Oh, I see.
And he remained a loyal member of the ANC. And I don't think he would be talking the language of I'll break away from the ANC, because he always believed in fighting. And debating issues within
and the fixing the party,
within the organization. Like, for instance, the one thing I want to say, and then the issue of respect, and it has always been the issue in the ANC. It could not be challenged. You know, Nelson Mandela could not declare the armed struggle and the formation of Umkhonto weSizwe. Because when he went to Chief Luthuli,
still on Chief Luthuli, can I go to Ngibambe? Ngifuna ukuza la, because when I compare uMandla Nduna as well as uMadiba njengamanje, what are some of the things ongathi ungasikhomparisha ebezifana phakathi kwabo?
Okay, Chief Albert Luthuli and Nelson Mandela, they have a lot in common, and the way their upbringing was almost the same, because the Chief was also brought up by only a female, because his dad passed on when he was only 6 months old. Apart from that, upbringing was almost the same, and they were well educated, considering that they were living in those times of apartheid, where even attaining education was very hard for an African child. But Chief Luthuli was only started involving himself in the politics in 1944. And when he was involving himself in 1944, he was elected somewhere around 1951 as being the general president of the ANC. And you will also consider that it was a crucial time in his time to be even leading the government of, leading the party of ANC under the apartheid government. And at that particular moment, Nelson Mandela was also leading the ANC Youth League. So they were like, but they were not even close, because there was a very big age gap between them, because the Chief was 20 years senior to Nelson Mandela. But in that way, he was Nelson Mandela was sort of a protege of Chief Luthuli, and then still Nelson Mandela had like an immense respect for Chief Luthuli, because you also consider that there was at a point where everyone was so hungry to retain freedom. And Nelson Mandela would also take into account that he believed in non-violent means, and he's strongly committed to that. At the other hand, there were also a lot of other political heroes who were also involved. This was quite a lot of powerful force, and Chief Luthuli had to stand. And then but at the end of the day, they were both like very great leaders.
They were very greatly associated indeed. But a voice note. Let's listen to it briefly before we go to an ad break.
Hi, bantu baku Daily Thetha, ngiyanibingelela nonke igama lami nguLondiwe. Na itumeleng lekgetho. Mina ne best friend yami today sivugile saya eSonop Old Age Center, saya kubomagogo, sabayenzela icoffee, sabaphatha kamnandi, sihlala la eBreads, besenza lokhu for 67 minutes for iMandela Day. Besithanda nje ukuthi happy birthday Tata Nelson Rolihlahla Madiba Mandela. Usenzele okuningi, ushintsho oluningi la eMzansi.
Thank you so much for that tag team, that partnership with that voice note. But before I breaking Mansu and Nelson Mandela, Ore, death is something inevitable. When a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. I believe I have made that effort, and that is therefore why I will sleep for eternity. That's Nelson Mandela. We'll be right back.
The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. That from the long walk to freedom. That's a quote.
Yeah, he's still saying powerful things to us even when as narna mo lefatseng but fela re tla mo gopola ka mantšu a gagwe. And before re tsamaye ge, I think it's also befitting gore re bitse di-guests tša rena re ba botše gore, you know, have they identified young leaders mohlomongwe ba leng gore they are the next generation of Ntate Nelson Mandela? Because I'm sure by the time before Ntate Mandela ne re bona bo Chief Albert Buluthuli, ne re ba bona bo Ntate Walter Sisulu, then gwa tla Nelson Mandela. Mara in 2017, is there a young Madiba that you have maybe said, this one, our liberator?
Sinabo Kikaba, Sinabo Bani, Julius, Floyd, the rest of them. Inwaba. We have young leaders. Ukona any mbona gutan. No, there's something.
Why did second this not? I'm sure there's one yana that you're like our next liberator.
Zizi Koto, maybe
he or she is. Kimang. Anyone seen like?
Now, maybe I'm not going to be naming people, like saying the names, but what I can say is someone who could be almost like them. We need someone who is selfless. Because if we draw back to Chief Apetutuli and Nelson Mandela, there were people who were just fighting for no money, for no reason at all. The only reason that they're fighting was liberation for South Africa, for everyone to live in a democratic country, regardless of race or whatsoever, all enjoying same human rights. So what I can say is it's just that person, just a selfless leader, someone who is out there for just for South Africa as a whole. Not really, okay, fine, you can take care of yourself still while you're at it, but then someone who is into the benefits of the country more than they are for themselves. Because I can even remember when Chief Apetutuli received his Nobel Peace Prize in 1961, he said he was dedicating it to the African country as a whole, not himself. And he was almost one of the presidents who was not rich, because the money that he would receive when he was receiving the Nobel Peace Prize, he gave it to build farms in Swaziland, where people who were in exile at the time would benefit. So for me, a leader who would be almost like them, it would be someone along those lines. And I think so now, people should just start naming them, but no, I'm not going to name anyone.
Very selfless. And then about, you know, selfless leadership, and how do I become a selfless leader? Because maybe it's a big weight. How would you advise? Because you've interacted Ubuntu, you've interacted he would be the first to come down to your level and make you comfortable. How would you define selfless leadership to this young generation?
I should think in my thinking, and also we need not to compare first Madiba with any other next generation or any other person, because we have to understand that the politics, they evolved. They are not stagnant, they are not sitting in whatever. Now we've got new technology that is coming through, and the youth that we are having is so advanced. What happened internationally, they know it with a wink of an eye in today's world. So therefore, it's the same thing that when then Uzizi was coming, Utimen was coming into power, he even said it in his own that I cannot get into your shoes. Your shoes are too big for me. So we have to understand that every individual has his own role that he has to play in life. That was why then I was keep on laughing. I said, oh my gosh, are we then name dropping? No ways.
It's not about
that.
It
is about what the other callers have also echoed into this particular program to say there is a difference between a freedom and democracy. So we need to keep it in that particular format.
Let's go to Sydney as well. Do you think our leaders are manje? Now, especially amangana, they care about abantu, because all you hear now about bakala ukuthi ama leaders amanje apusha imali then ukuthi kulega abantu or imfuno zabantu.
Hey, no, they're definitely. I can think of a number of young people who are doing extraordinary things and who are not doing it for financial gain. I think some of them, you constantly have them in your studio debating issues. Some of them are starting up debating companies. Some of them are starting up engineering, graphics designing companies. And far more than just wanting to start something, they are doing it because they want to be an example to other people. And I think that is one legacy that we can take from people such as Nelson Mandela and many other leaders that came before. If we are willing to put ourselves before, if we are willing to see all the benefits as byproducts, then it becomes so much more fulfilling to do what we have to do, especially if we are doing it with honest truth. Because if you're watching the interview between former President Mbeki and Given Kari, the question arose that which young person can lead this country forward? And there are so many young people who have that potential, who have that ability. But I think our image of leadership and our image of being members of parliament or presidents is so tainted by what we see currently. We look at all the corruption and think to ourselves, maybe I shouldn't bat for that team.
Let's go to you, Tammy. Almost a microphone, Tammy, on that side. Do you think Tammy? Yes. This is Bob Tammy and that's Miss Tato. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Umuntu omncane njengamanje ongalida eSouth Africa, ugawantu umuntu onjani? Sidinga umuntu onjani omncane who can lead and make lelizwe better than indlela eliyona.
Okay, someone that has courage. Because right now, I mean, the reality is that you get into politics or any form of leadership for the nation, you see what's going on in KZN. Obviously, Ubaba has mentioned the assassinations, the attempts. Those are the things that, as the youth, we sit back and we're like, geez, there should be another way to lead the country. There should be a way for us to actually effect change without having to be involved in all of that and the politics. But right now, I think the biggest thing is someone that can mediate. Someone that can speak to the elders and respect their knowledge and say, okay, cool, you have this knowledge. Let's use it and see how we can create new tools, you know, and literally be able to create this new South Africa. You
remind me of saying, if we mix the wisdom of the old and, the energy of the young, that's a great partnership. And Bob Tammy, I also wanted to come to you before we go to our audience member. 67 years dedicated to a political life is not a child's game. 27 years spent in prison, far away from your family, not bearing your son, not seeing your wife and children. It's not a child's game. All is asked of us, 67 minutes of doing good. How would you advise South Africans to take this time to reflect and do well today?
No, I'll answer it by this way. I normally say to my wife, where is my Valentine's Day present? I say, oh. What about 365 days? Do I love you for one day? No, really 67 days, 67 minutes for a man who did so much for the country. Completely, it's not enough. But I also want to deal with the issue. There's a tendency of you young people to underestimate yourself and the power you have to lead this country. You are underestimating yourself. You are quite capable in the country. And the way you are asking us questions, I can live here and happy and say the future of our country is in safe hands.
Wow. Thank you so much.